Welcome to Lovin The Loveboat, a fond and funny look back on the world's greatest cruise ship-based television show. I'm Istvan, singer, songwriter, and TV fanatic.
And I'm Michelle, pop culture enthusiast.
Join us as we relive episodes of one of the most watched TV series of all time.
Occasionally deviating to pop culture charts unknown.
So come aboard, we're expecting you for another edition of
Lovin The Loveboat.
Michelle.
Istvan.
Episode 50, according to my numbers.
It's getting really screwy here towards the end.
We changed the rules, Pluto rules, so we are considering this the final episode of Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sue us if we're incorrect. But I think it's a nice way to end the season.
I think so, too. It's kind of like a family affair.
Yes, and there's a lot to cover in a way. I actually have notes on this one. And again, if anyone has listened to the previous episode where I was all sad and somber because I was announcing the end of the podcast, we kind of have news about the status and future of the show, so please listen to the very end. So today, you guys, on our Season 2 ender, we have Third Wheel, written by Lee Aronson. Secondly, we have Grandmother's Day, written by Ann Gibbs and Joel Kimmel. And lastly, we have Second String Mom, written by Lee Aronson as well. All right, Michelle, can you tell everybody who we have on this episode?
I sure can. First off, I have down here Ken Berry playing Robert Noble. He's one of those actors you've seen everywhere. I know most notably from your favorite show, Mama's Family.
Oh, God.
He was the wife of...
Ugh. I love Vicki Lawrence. I love Carol Burnett. That show is one of the ones that I will turn off instantaneously. Sorry, guys, if you're big Mama's Family fans.
I cannot say I am a fan of that either.
I really noticed on this episode that he had almost like orangutan or simian-like arms.
I'm not sure I paid attention.
Or Popeye-level forearms, like hairy forearms that I could not stop staring at. Okay, continue.
Next up, we have Bob Cummings as Elliot Smith.
Are you talking about Charles Clarence Robert Orville Cummings? Is that who you're talking about?
Yes, I am. Gopher's dad.
Because I looked him up, because he looked to me in the beginning like he was on the precipice of expiring, dying. And I'm like, when did this guy die? It's the first time I think I ever looked it up. And he lived until like 1990. So he had like another good, like at least 12 years to go. That guy, he's very likable.
He's very likable. He's like one of those guys where I could say he was in a million things, but I couldn't really mention anything.
Me too. Me too. You know him immediately. It's like, but what from? I don't know.
But he did have his own TV show, I think, at some point.
Didn't you establish that everyone did back then? Everybody had their own show.
Either back in the 40s and 50s, you had like
the Colgate
Bob
Hour
show or the Red Skeleton Hour.
Yeah.
And then towards the 70s, everybody had like a variety show.
Right.
So
everyone got a chance.
Now nobody has a show.
Right.
Somebody needs to start bringing it back. Next up, we have Nanette Fabray. She plays Maggie O'Brien. Now, has she been on before?
I don't remember.
You do remember who she is. I mean, she's been another one who's been in tons of movies, theater, TV.
I just saw her in I think she was the mom on a weird spinoff of One Day at a Time with like Valerie Bertinelli, where she was like the mom. And I couldn't understand who are the two men. Which one is she married to? Why are they both in there? My hero was on that show.
Lembeck?
Eric Von Zipper's son.
Oh, yeah, Lembeck.
Yeah.
No, but she did play the grandma on the regular One Day at a Time, too.
There you go.
So that's what I know her from. So maybe on this spinoff somehow she had a major role. Then we have Beth Howland, sorry. She was Lee Noble, and everybody knows her as Vera from Alice.
Oh, yeah. Watched Alice all the time.
I did, too, even though her character gave me a lot of anxiety. Because she was always fumbling. She was always like messing things up, and she was always kind of anxious.
She's so good in that role, though.
She was perfect in that role.
Like being that. I mean, she played that so perfectly. It's crazy.
Yeah, she was really good at that.
Well, when you got Mel Sharples yelling at you every 5 minutes, it's going to make you nervous.
It's kind of like my dad. Mel Sharples and my dad, one and the same. Then we have the magnificent Ethel Merman as Roz Smith.
There's no business.
Gopher.
Oh, my God. Ethel Merman.
I love her.
Yeah,
Sorry.
me too. I like her, too.
She's a larger than life.
Yeah.
Just everything. Then I have Barry Nelson as Mac O'Brien. He was in a lot of things, too, I guess. But he's more like they were calling him like a second string type actor. But they said he was all around nice guy.
He was really good. He was good on the show. I liked him a lot.
Hair was a little distracting, but he was a nice guy.
Well, it's because it was Lego hair. That was not real hair. that snap-on hair.
It was not
The most dense hair on the planet.
Those was a really awful toupee.
Was it a toupee?
I had to be a toupee, don't you
I
think?
thought it was real. No, I thought he just had like really, really like super like thick hair.
I thought it was a toupee. People, if you watched it, let us know what you think.
I'll put it in the questions. Was it a toupee? Not a toupee, yeah.
That's some amazing hair if it was real.
Now, did you get Mary and Judy's names?
The two daughters?
Yeah.
I have Michelle Tobin.
Ooh.
Michelle with one L. I'm with two.
Nice.
And then I have Shelley Jutner as Judy Noble.
Okay. Yeah, the two daughters.
The Michelle Tobin, she still was acting for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
The other one kind of dropped off after the 80s, early 80s. She did a lot of teen, she did a lot of after-school specials, apparently. But based on her character, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's all I have.
All right, well, let's meet the cast. First to enter the ship on this final episode of season 2 for us are the O'Brien family. The middle-aged, spoiler alert, still getting busy O'Briens. They're on a ship to kind of celebrate being empty nesters, right?
Yes, they are. Oh, well.
And for some reason, Doc is welcoming people onto the ship. I don't know why. Every once in a while, I guess he does that too. He might be bored. Or he's checking out the talent to see who he's going to hit on, maybe. It's
probably a little bit of that. And, if he's got all his doctor's office stuff in order.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? Sometimes Isaac is out there.
Well, thank goodness Doc was out there, because not only do we meet them, greet them, but there's a little complication.
Oh, hi. Hi there. I'm Mac O'Brien. This is my wife, Maggie. Ah, yes. The honeymoon suite is right up the stairs.
Oh, watch out for this one. Next, to be selling us maps to buried treasure.
Now that you mention it. Hi, Adam Bricker. Welcome to our Mother's Day cruise.
Well, thank you.
Listen, do you have information on all the ports, that we stop in? Because we've never visited Mexico before, and we want to paint all the towns red. Well, sure. We've got some brochures over on the counter. Let me check your cabin assignment. All right, now, don't run off without me. Oh, yeah. Ms. O'Brien, you and Mac are in cabin 347 on the... Hey, you all right?
Yes. Yes, I'm fine.
Now, if there's any problem, I am the ship's doctor.
No, please, it's just all the excitement. Really, now I'm fine.
Good. Stop flirting with the helpmate, Meg. See you later, Ellen. You bet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Michelle?
Yeah.
If your father back in the day brought a second wife and you and your sister had met her, would you be as rotten as Judy and Mary are to Beth Howland?
Maybe, because first I would say, Dad, why, if our mom had passed away, why would you bring us on a Mother's Day cruise?
Maybe to force them to like this second wife.
Well, obviously that's why, but it also would make me think like, oh, my mom's not here. So therefore I'm going to be a jerk.
Yeah, well, these two jerky teens, they enter, and right away you see that Lee, a.k.a. Beth Howland, has her work cut out for her to win them over.
Hi, we're the Nobles.
Hello, welcome aboard. I'm Julie McCoy. Let's see. Oh, you have adjoining cabins. You're on Aloha 355 and Aloha 357 for your father and mother. She's not our mother.
Mary.
Look, why don't you kids go and explore the ship while we unpack?
Yeah, come on, I'll show you.
Where's the pool?
Where's the disco?
Give them some time, Bob. We've only been married a month. The cruise is a great chance for us all to get to know each other.
Do you know how terrific you are?
Yep.
Come on.
I was happy to see that Ethel Merman was Gopher's mom.
Yeah.
I thought she was perfect. They had a little too close for comfort relationship.
Yeah, a little bit. A little Oedipal in a way. But, it just means that he loves his mom.
Right.
Intensely.
Clearly where he got his sense of humor from.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the first glimpse we get at Gopher's actual family.
The train stops in Minsk for dinner.
But the borscht will turn the cat's tongue blue.
It's so good to see you.
See you, Mom. You look great.
Thank you.
Oh, Mom, listen, I want you to meet my boss, Captain Merrill Stubing. He's our
Captain?
That's why they call me Captain, Stupid. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to see you, thank you. Where's Dad? You haven't misplaced him again, have you? You know how forgetful I am. No. He's supervising the luggage. Yes, you know how efficient your father is. Elliot!
Hello there, Burl.
Hi, Dad. You're looking well.
Thank you. You look in the pink yourself.
Captain Stubing. I'd like you to meet my father, Elliot Smith.
How do you do? How do you do? It's nice to meet you, sir. You've got a fine son here. Oh, you don't have to tell me. You know he gave us this cruise as a present.
Well, it is Mother's Day. And nothing's too good for my mom. Come on, I'll show you to your cabin. Walk this way.
Oh, it's not the same without my cigar. But where are you going to find a good cigar these days?
So there are a lot of ages mentioned on this cruise.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that Gopher was 23.
Yes.
They had also established at some point during this that Julie was 23 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did she not have her 10-year reunion?
Oh, you already gave them a hard time about that. And I told you that she was like advanced and she was moved forward grades.
Same
and
for
that's
Gopher.
why.
Wasn't he in Vietnam?
They're all very
Was he
bright.
13 in Vietnam?
You cannot. Oh, that's right. Wasn't he in the military? That's right. Oh my God! Now you're blowing my mind. I can't handle this for the final episode.
They really needed somebody to continuity with the ages there. And like you said, Ethel Merman was she's probably 50, but I mean, she looked like she was 60 or 70.
More in her 70s to me, but whatever.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
Robert Cummings was.
We
old.
need to stick to the whole thing that has sort of a magical quality, so age becomes sort of like.
I need to suspend reality.
Right. Michelle, were you at all offended in like sort of like the Irish stereotype that like the O'Briens are, like super, I would assume, Catholic procreators?
Well, they had 6 kids.
6 kids already,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like you did back in the day. And they are on board, hanging by the pool, and the dad, maybe with the toupee, maybe not, is kind of loving the idea that they're going to have some newfound freedom and the ability to kind of like...
Come and go as they please.
Yeah. These guys are establishing the fact that, yes, they are empty nesters.
This is lovely life. Sun, Maggie? Sun, sea air. Oh.
Oh, I wish Joanne could have come with us.
Oh, honey. Come on, Joanne's happy where she is at college with her friends.
The last of our babies. It's going to be lonesome at home.
No, that's going to be wonderful. Like for the first time in 31 years, no more diapers to change, no more lollipops stuck to my pants, nobody bothering me about the car keys. Oh, heaven.
Oh, come on, Mac. You know you love kids.
Only other people's from now on.
Michelle, I don't know if I noticed this. Did they establish that like Gopher's mom was like a performer, or is she just like a really like outgoing person?
Good question. I feel like they never established that. I think she was just a really outgoing mother, and she spent a lot of time with her children.
Okay, because on this episode, like this is a Mother's Day cruise, right?
Right.
And they are then all of a sudden out of nowhere, they're having some sort of like talent show or pageant or something like that, where like the crew is all going to perform.
It's always some weird like twist.
Right. So like they're asking Gopher, like they need to get it down on paper what his act is going to be, and then it's like he's deciding, but then is choosing his mother to be his partner, I think, was what was happening.
Yes.
And that's what I was wondering, like, are they old showbiz people, and that's why he's such a clowny guy or something? I couldn't tell, but you start to see a little inkling of a rift or a problem in the family when he makes his decision.
Hi. Mind if I join you?
I didn't know we were coming apart.
So, Dad, you enjoying the cruise?
Oh, sure. I just hope I don't go out of business while I'm here.
Dad, come on. This is supposed to be a vacation. Will you stop worrying about the business?
Oh, son, I'm not really worried. The business is just fine.
Where's Mom?
Well, she'll be here in a minute. We're going to take a stroll around the ship.
Gopher, Burl.
Go.
Okay, Gopher. What are you going to do for the show?
Cruise show tomorrow night for Mother's Day.
Oh.
Featuring an evening with Isaac Washington.
Featuring 3.5 minutes tops with Isaac Washington. Well,
hey, don't worry about Smith.
okay. But you be sure to let us know.
Okay. As soon as you know. Okay.
Maggie O'Brien's continuous health issues on this trip were getting me a little worried.
Yeah, I was scared.
Because I was thinking, like, oh no, they finally have their freedom and something tragic's going to happen to her.
I was getting very, very nervous, and I did not like the way that this whole cruise started off with her at all.
No, but Doc has convinced her to get an exam and take some tests.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yeah, thank God he has everything they need for that kind of exam on a cruise ship.
And, as a big-time twisteroo, they have good news and good news.
I'm sorry to be so long. I was just double-checking your tests.
Is something wrong?
Well, we have good news and good news.
Hey.
The good news is you're not sick.
Okay. What's the good news?
Maggie, you're going to have a baby. You all right?
Yeah. Well, see, I just wasn't expecting to be expecting. Hey, that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, that's terrible. I have to tell Mac.
Well, yes, a woman usually lets her husband in on this sort of thing.
Unless, of course, he happens to be planning a trip around the world.
Michelle, we make a lot of jokes about people's ages, I think rightfully so. A lot of people being younger when they seem older. But in this instance, this woman who has already had 6 children, they are not spring chickens. Like, what do you think her age is? Like, honestly, like on the show.
Ideally, I would think she's in her early 50s.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
But it's the Love Boat, so she could be in her late 40s or
right.
mid-40s. But she looks to be probably in her early 50s, very early 50s.
Okay. Well, that's it. That'd be kind of like you wouldn't be expecting that. You wouldn't be...
Right. Like their final of 6 kids is in college, so that would mean the other ones are in their mid-20s at least.
Well, again, to the stereotype, too, of the time, large Irish family, a lot of people were like married at 18 or something like that. People get married at like 20 years old, very, very, in our perspective, pretty young. But I just was curious. Like, I wonder how old she kind of was, and then to be having a child and all that.
Oh, can you imagine?
You know what? I don't want to ruin this, but like, ultimately, I would be happy. But nervous. But it would be overwhelming. It would be completely overwhelming for sure. I don't want to have to imagine it, quite honestly.
Exhausting.
We've already said 1 child is plenty to deal with. And I salute everyone out there who has more than one or one.
Yeah.
I salute the O'Briens, now the 7th on the way.
Oy. But she doesn't know how to tell her husband, who is so excited for their newfound freedom.
As you would imagine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would feel like, oh my gosh, he's been so excited about this, and you've gone through all that. It would be tough news to break.
Mm-hmm. I feel sorry for Beth Lee Noble, stepmother to the 2 kind of bratty teenage daughters.
Again, I think the Love Boat does a pretty awesome job of casting people, because she is a really sympathetic character,
Yeah, she's kind.
Oh God, she's so sweet. She's so nice. She's trying. Yeah, and it's just like, these are the things that I'm 100% in on this, and you can imagine how hard it is. Teenagers are notoriously jerks no matter what, and she played this really, really well. And throughout this, beginning of the cruise, she is trying so hard to win these 2 boringly named jerks over.
Your dad will be down in a few minutes. Business call. He said to go ahead and order. Mary, what are you going to have?
I don't know.
Ooh, how about the lobster?
I hate lobster.
How about you?
I want to wait for my father. Yeah, it's a lot more fun when it's the family.
Look, guys, I'll level with you. I've got a problem. Can't go on like this. I know it's not easy to accept me as part of the family, but believe me, I'm not trying to replace your mother. But I would like to, fit in. Maybe as friend? Do you You gotta help me. What is it that you want from me?
We don't want anything from you.
I see. Well, I thought it was worth a try.
You know, the dinner on the cruise really kind of revealed a lot in this episode, Michelle, because not only were we seeing this sort of, strained, troubled sort of relationship between this stepmom and the two daughters, but then you get another glimpse into Gopher's life as well as Isaac's life. Mm-hmm. It was kind of sad.
Yes, both are sad.
It was dad's sadness because Gopher's parents come in, they're going to sit down to dinner, and then out of the blue, like these two sort of have like this dad heart-to-heart with one another where we find out that poor Isaac's dad died.
Yeah, he said his dad was older too.
Yeah, that like he was like 5 years old or something, loses his father, and that Gopher, Burl, like never really had a relationship with his dad.
No, I guess he was on the road a lot.
Doing what?
He was a traveling salesman.
Like a encyclopedia salesman, one of those jobs, vacuum salesman, one of those classic salesman jobs that used to exist. Yeah, but he wasn't around, and that's why he formed the unnatural bond with his mother.
You know, your folks are really a gas.
Yeah.
And your dad seems like a really nice guy. Yeah. Don't you two get along?
Yeah, sure. I guess.
You know, my dad died when I was pretty young. But I remember we used to go to the park on Sunday, and we'd shoot baskets or fly kites. Or, just kind of hang out.
Well, my dad wasn't too much for hanging out.
That's too bad.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't like me.
Did you notice that every time Maggie O'Brien was going to try to attempt to tell her husband about the baby, there was always like some kind of dramatic...
No. You know what I noticed?
What?
That the O'Briens had a killer cabin. Didn't you notice that their cabin was different than everybody else's cabin that we've seen thus far?
No.
They had like a cool, it was lit better, like it had like cool halogen lights or something, and like the bed was kind of oriented in a different way. It looked like their cabin was different to me, and it looked kind of nicer.
Well, maybe they paid extra because they were celebrating their empty nest life.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice that. I knew she was trying, but I just could not stop looking at their differently oriented cabin. Wait, what did you notice?
Just every time there was very dramatic music when she was going to try to tell him about the baby. And
yeah, Dwayne Altatro was throwing some weird sounds in this one because there was some really intense ends to the commercial that seemed a little out of place, a little disjointed. I think he was tired at the end of season 2 and he was kind of like, all right, let's just do this. But there was definitely some drama going on throughout this. Michelle, we can't end season 2 without hitting Love Bow. And if you're new to the show, Love Bow is it's usually at nighttime. You see the nice calm, it's always calm waters in the distance. One time there was a warship that Michelle didn't notice, and I don't know how. But it's always some sort of heavy scene that's taking place.
Or kissing.
Yes, and I love when they're on Love Bow. And this time, Love Bow is utilized to both scold and have a heart-to-heart conversation with these two jerk daughters.
Well, excuse us. I never saw him kiss Mom like that.
Hold it. Honey, I'll meet you back in the lounge. I want to talk to the girls.
All right.
It's time we had a little talk. Now, I knew there would be a period of adjustment with Lee, but it's gotten out of hand. Now, why don't you two just tell me why it is you feel the way you feel?
Well, you didn't ask us how we felt before you married her.
I see. I should have asked your permission.
Oh, Daddy.
Look, I married Lee because I love her. Well, why should that change anything between us?
What about Mom?
Oh, I loved your mom. You know that. Not a day goes by that I don't think of her. When I look at you, I see her eyes. And you have her hair. When Meg died, I thought I'd died too. But we go on. We have to. She'd want us to, don't you think? It's hard when you lose somebody you love. But that doesn't mean you can't ever care about somebody else. Or let somebody care about you. Do you understand?
I guess so. Sure, Daddy.
Good.
I thought that he did a good job talking to his daughters.
Me too, because that's really hard, and you oh my God, when you think of the complication of losing a spouse, having two daughters to raise,
and teenage ones, that's like a tough time for
trying
girls.
to move on with your life and being lucky enough to find someone that you like, and then trying to make that all work together is crazy. As a child, I didn't realize that. As an adult, I do. And this father, I do think they did a really good job where he was explaining he misses the mom. It's not trying to replace. Oh my gosh, it's just totally crazy. And I thought that they did a really nice job. And again, I thought he was cast really well in that role.
Were his arms showing? Were they distracting?
No, he had a
him?
jacket on, thank God. It's like when he wore shirt sleeves. Then it's just I could not stop noticing those very, very powerful, hairy
I feel like
forearms.
I want to go back and watch it again now just to see.
I may
his
go
arms.
back and take a photo of just his forearms to share with
Do you
everybody.
have an anchor tattoo on there?
No,
No.
he should have though.
Mr. Elliot Smith has
Yes.
been a bit of sour grapes throughout this whole cruise so far.
Yeah, it's an interesting, odd sort of like thing that's happening.
He seems to be shutting down his wife at every turn, every time she tries to get enthusiastic and do something with Gopher.
Because ultimately we learn that he's kind of envious of
Yes,
the
he is.
relationship that she has with Gopher.
Isn't this fun?
Don't you think you're overdoing it just a little?
What?
Well, all this clowning around is fine at home, but this is where Burrow works. That man over there is his boss. I'm afraid you're embarrassing your son.
I'm sorry. I just wasn't thinking. I get carried away. Here we are. Ta-da!
Hey, Mom, I'll bet I can balance that cherry on the end of my nose longer than you can.
Oh, I'm pooped. If you don't mind, I think we better call it a night.
No, of course, I don't mind.
I'll see you tomorrow, dear.
Good night, son.
Night, Dad.
Michelle, what is mole?
Mole.
Yeah,
It is
what
a chocolate sauce,
Okay.
but it's not sweet. It's made with a cacao plant.
What's the point then?
It's a sauce. It's a savory sauce that they put over meats in Mexico,
On meats?
like chicken. It's usually I've had it over chicken at a restaurant.
Ugh.
It's interesting. It's a different taste. It's not sweet like how you would think like chocolate sauce would be, but it still has like a chocolate.
Well, that sounds gross to me.
I recommend you give it a try.
All right, maybe I will when we're in Puerto Vallarta.
Why
Nobody can say
it?
Puerto Vallarta correctly. The O'Briens are on another part of the ship that we enjoy when they're outside, and I think it's actually shot in a real way. And they are discussing this disgusting sounding food, and it's kind of making her, I think, a little nauseous.
I think it is too. She's getting her sickness.
And she does the classic where she's explaining the foods that she's currently craving. And being a guy who's been a father 6 times over, this dude knows exactly what that means.
He gets it.
All set for a day in Puerto Vallarta? Oh,
Well-
Isaac says there's a little restaurant that specializes in chicken mole, the chocolate sauce.
Honey, I don't think I'm up to chocolate-covered chicken today. In fact, I don't think I'll even go into town. Why don't you go without me?
What's the matter, honey?
Mac, do you know what I would really like? It's strawberry malted and a pickle.
Oh, no.
I'm pregnant.
It's a joke, right? Huh? It's a joke. It's Mother's Day. Hey!
not joking.
Maggie, how did this happen? I know how it happened. It's just, I don't know what it is.
Please, Mac, please be as thrilled as I am. I know this means a change in your plans, but don't be mad.
No, I'm not mad. I'm stunned. Are you all right?
To tell you the truth, I'm exhausted. I think I'll go lie down for a while.
I'll help you.
Honey, I've been through this 6 times. I can handle it. I just want to be sure that you can.
I like the way he's handling it.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
He was shocked. He wasn't angry.
No.
Because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, when your heart is going in a different direction and then you get that news.
It would be rough.
It would be rough. But I thought they did it well and he handled it well.
Maybe throw a condom on, bro. Maybe don't rely on that rhythm method that they taught us in school back in the day.
On the plus side, I think they had mentioned it at some point on this episode. They have a lot of babysitters.
Yeah.
So they could still go out and do things.
Right. And the weird, like, age difference between you and a sibling. You know what I mean?
Your 18-year-old sister, your 25-year-old brother. But there are some kids that had happened to, I recall, in grade school. Typical teenage girls. What are their names?
Mary, come on, man. It's like the most basic
so
names.
Basic,
Mary and
I can't
Judy.
Even remember. Mary and Judy want to go on their own into Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
And I would see me and my sister at that age asking to do the same thing.
Right.
And Dad almost says yes, but then...
Lee says no.
Nope. She says it's dangerous.
And the girls didn't take this news all that well.
No.
They're upset, and they turn on a little radio in their room and listen to generic rock and roll instrumental music like a lot of people do when they're angry. And they decide to rebel.
Boy, she acts like she owns Daddy. Yeah, and now we have to do what she says. I don't care what she says. I'm going to Puerto Vallarta. But Daddy said we can't.
We're going to find out. We'll be back before dinner. Besides, he would have let us go if she hadn't butted in.
Yeah. Who cares what she thinks anyway?
Let's go.
So flash forward a little bit later in the day, and Lee gets a phone call from the girls. They were in a Mexican jail. Was not what I was expecting.
I love that they were in jail. That they got pinched by the policia. And they're thrown into a Mexican jail, which is probably like the scary thing.
Oh, heck yeah.
Especially 2 girls. 2 teenage girls thrown into a Mexican jail. Because they didn't have what? Like
their
some
tourist card. Is that like a passport?
I have never heard of that. I don't know what it is. I thought it was easy to go into Mexico.
You didn't really need a passport back then, but maybe you did need. It's like equivalent to a passport, and they were just kind of running around in the.
I think it's all made up, and then they mouthed off to the cop, to the Mexican cop.
Well, yeah, the one daughter did mouth off, and then they locked him up.
So they call.
Maybe it was just more to teach him a lesson.
This is one of my favorite things when they have their distressed call back to the ship. Thank God the ship was accepting phone calls at the time.
Oh, that's true.
And they call, because normally you can't get a call through when you really need one the
That's
most.
true.
And so they call up explaining to Lee that they're in, how do you say pokey in Spanish? I don't know. Poke.
Hello?
Judy.
Judy, where are you?
Your dad's been looking all over there. We gotta talk to him.
No, he's not here right now. Just tell me where you are.
We're in jail.
You're what?
We're in jail.
All right. Calm down. Listen, everything's going to be okay. I'll come and get you.
Yeah, so Lee goes and disappears. Like, the dad is gone. Who knows where he is? And he doesn't realize that they're gone for a few hours. So you have to get the captain involved.
Yeah,
because he had to help bail these girls out of jail.
He was so calm about it, too.
Like, he had been pulled away from his entire cruise ship for a few hours to get these girls out of jail. He was very optimistic and not mad about it.
He's very cavalier about the whole thing. It was like no big deal.
It happens a lot, though.
Yeah, so they come back, and the girls, like, thank Lee for
saving them. And all she asks is that they tell their dad the truth.
Thanks again, Captain, for all your help.
No problem, Mrs. Noble. I'm just sorry the girls had an unpleasant adventure. If you'll excuse me, I have dinner guests, and the captain's table isn't the captain's table without the captain. Excuse me.
Come on, we better find your father. He probably thinks I fell overboard.
Lee, Mary and I just wanted to say that you didn't have to go to all the trouble. You know what I mean?
And you're very welcome.
And thanks for not telling Dad about coming to get us. I mean, he'd absolutely kill us. We didn't mean to do anything bad. We didn't know you had to have a tourist card. And Judy didn't mean to be rude to that policeman. It wasn't just me.
Look, it's all over now and everybody's safe and sound. I didn't tell your dad, but I really think you should tell him now.
You know, as if the captain didn't have enough to do bailing young girls out of Mexican jails, he's got to be like a shoulder to cry on for Gopher's father on this cruise. Because Elliot is confiding in the captain sort of the strained relationship that he and his son had.
I just can't understand why everybody calls him Gopher. Does he like the name Burl? Not much. Burl was my father's name, you know. I love it. I tell you, it's awfully disconcerting having to ask a stranger about your own son. Well, it's hard to be close when he's at sea all the time. To tell you the truth, Captain, we were never really very close. When he was just a little fellow, I was out on the road 10 months a year. And, well, we seemed to miss all that wonderful father and son stuff. Fortunately, I had a desk job at the time Jennifer came along. But by that time, Burl was already off and on his own. And I guess we'll just never.
Elliot, only the past can't be changed. Excuse me.
And then what does the captain do, Michelle? He gives kind of like great, almost like fortune cookie advice to him. You know, he's like, you can't change the past or something, or like you can change the future, you know, meaning it's not too late.
No, yeah, I have it written down. He says, only the past can't be changed.
Oh, that's so heavy.
It is heavy.
But it's so true.
I'm going to get that on a big wooden board and put it on our front porch.
Yeah, so it's like he realizes he could still, you know, make efforts to have some kind of relationship. It was weird, though. This was weird because, like, it didn't seem like they hated one another. I guess it's just that they were, like, they didn't know one another, you know?
Right, they were just kind of estranged.
Yeah, they didn't dislike each other or anything like that. It's just, yeah, he wasn't really there, which was not uncommon. You know, dads not being around and stuff like that. The captain kind of helps immensely. And then Gopher comes flying in because he finds out that the dad had shut the mom down, and out of love for his mom, he goes to chew out his dad, and it turns from confrontation into healing.
Dad, what are you thinking of? Mom is not embarrassing me, and you have no right to ruin her vacation.
Hey, Burl,
Look, even if you don't care that much about me, don't take it out on her.
Don't care about you? You're my son. I care about you very much.
Well, then why do you act the way you do?
I've always felt like an outsider around you and your mom. I guess I'm jealous. I guess I wish you'd let me in on all the fun. It's probably too late for that now. Son, I hardly know you. And you don't know me at all. I suppose I wouldn't mind if you didn't want to.
Oh, Dad.
Son.
That was really emotional.
I did not like seeing Gopher cry.
No.
A, because I didn't buy it.
Maybe, that's part of it.
It wasn't, his drama is not as good as his comedy.
No, he's definitely more of a comedic foil in this Love Boat.
And I thought the dad was holding on to him way too long and too strongly, and it was bothering me as well. It's like, hey, yeah, we're all right, Dad, but like you can let go of me now.
I know, it wasn't like the dad was like away at war or something, or,
Yeah, or like he had been gone, like you didn't know who your dad was, and he just showed up out of nowhere. Like you knew him, it's just like he was out working or whatever.
Right, and you were doing show tunes with your mom your whole childhood.
Yeah. But it was nice, and it was really cool because at first he was mad, and that, turned from anger into love, basically, between these two.
Yeah.
Which was really nice.
Mary and Judy do not make good on their promise to Lee that they were going to come clean right away to the father.
Yeah, you know what? Lee needs to find a different family. I'm going to tell you that much because she's great. She's doing all this extra work. She is completely correct in her decisions. I would not like kids going to Mexico by themselves.
No.
And it's like she was making the right decision as far as that's concerned. She leaves it to them, and doesn't narc on them that they got in trouble and said that you should tell the dad. They don't do it. And then what happens?
Lee gets mad.
Did she get mad? Is that what happened?
Did she kind of storm off and go to the pool?
Yeah, she was upset at the pool, and then, like, the dad came in to console her, and then I can't remember what happened, but, like, something where he was upset with Lee. And then,
because he thought Lee kept it from him purposely.
Oh, that's right.
And then Lee just wanted the girls to tell the dad, which I understand. It's not necessarily, that's a tough line for her, because then she becomes a tattletale. And then the girls are still mad at her.
This is too much work.
It was a lose-lose for her no matter what she did.
Yeah, too much work for this poor woman.
I know.
But as a result of this, the family starts, or maybe does, become a family.
What's wrong, huh?
It's nothing. It's just... Oh, Bob, as a parent, I'm a total flop.
Oh, now, what are you talking about? The girls really seem to be coming along.
That's the problem. Things just aren't what they seem.
Dad?
Dad, we have something to tell you. We lied to you before. We didn't go to a party. We went to Puerto Vallarta this afternoon.
Oh?
And we got arrested.
Lee came and got us out of jail.
Jail? And you didn't tell me?
Well,
I am their father, you know.
I'm sorry, Bob. But it wasn't as bad as it sounds. I just thought...
You thought? Well, you thought wrong.
Don't pick on Lee. It wasn't her fault.
Yeah, she wanted us to tell you. Only we let her down.
So if you're going to yell at anybody, yell at us.
Well, if you want me to yell at you.
Bet you'd rather go dancing, right?
Yeah. Dancing with Mom.
Michelle, did you know that Julie kicks ass on the flute?
I have Julie in my notes jamming on the flute.
She was great on that flute.
I had no idea she had that skill.
And she was pulling a complete U where she has to like downplay it like she's not good, and then she's like really good on the flute. But she's jamming on the flute. We saw some weird chef do some bizarre half of an act, and he goes off back to the kitchen. And then we get the dad and son duet.
Yeah, I mean, he has to go on because Ethel Merman has laryngitis. Good old school laryngitis.
Yeah, that was the thing. That's what they pulled off. It was kind of cute where, like, she's pretending that she can't go on.
I can't sing.
And then...
How many times as a kid did you pretend you had laryngitis?
Maybe on a daily basis. I don't know.
I did too.
Like some sort of fatal injury where I was going unconscious and laryngitis. Yeah, regularly.
Or I was blind.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, always something like that.
Always something dramatic because 70s TV was just so dramatic.
It taught us. It taught us a lot. But like she's pretending to do that so the dad will be forced to now perform with his son. And there's actually a really funny part as they were leaving too, because those are the parts that are really good. Mm-hmm. And that, again, we always talk about it, that era of like Ethel Merman, that Cummings guy or whatever his name was, those people were the best. And those people just knew what to do, how to perform, how to make people laugh, things like that. So those two head off to the, whatever it is, the lounge to go do their, oh, sonny boy.
Climb upon my knee, Sonny boy.
You're putting a little weight, kid.
You are only 3. Sonny boy.
23.
Really? My, how time flies. You've no way of knowing, there's no way of showing what you mean to me, Sonny boy.
Oh, Sonny boy.
So yeah, this thing was pretty good. I thought they did a decent job, and that guy shows like his sort of like comedic side and just again his super likable side. And I always loved actors like that, you know, like a Jimmy Stewart or somebody who's, like I said, I loved all male characters that showed some level of vulnerability, and he did a really, really good job. Terrible singer.
Yeah, really. I could see why Ethel Merman wanted to do the number.
But they do that, and it also was really nice. This whole thing was like a super feel-good because all of these things came together in a really nice way.
All the families mended.
Yeah, and I thought that was really super cool. Yeah, so this was a very special Mother's Day.
Yes.
Yes, moms were celebrated. There were some very mom-centric things, but also the dads were considered during this as well. You know, the first people to say goodbye are the newly reunited, I don't know, what was their last name? The Nobles?
Nobles.
The Nobles.
Haley, are you any good at baking?
Not bad. Why?
I'm on the food committee for the spring dance, and I've got to make cookies for 250.
Well, that makes it official, Mother.
Can you imagine how many hand-me-downs this O'Brien kid's going to have?
I would think that they got rid of all the clothes when
Oh, they got to start fresh.
Probably.
Yeah, this kid doesn't want to be wearing some 60s clothes or even like late 50s clothes. They want some groovy 70s clothes, right?
Absolutely. 80s. Getting into the 80s.
Yeah, so the O'Briens got some shopping to do. They got to get down to JCPenney's or Woolworths or whatever exists back in that time. They got to buy some new clothes for this kid, but they say goodbye.
Now, don't feel you have to name the baby after me. Gee, it never occurred to me.
Me neither. Yeah, we want to name a baby Doc.
Bye-bye.
So glad that Gopher and his family got everything together.
Yeah, it's nice.
It was very healing for him and his dad.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I am very proud of being a dad. It's my favorite thing that I've ever become, the thing that I'm most happy about in my life. And I think it's important, dads, you know what I mean? And dads that care and dads that want to be a part of things. And I thought that was kind of nice that they touched upon that and showed that in kind of a interesting and unique way. So those guys are off. And the captain finishes up by looking on, kind of like happy that he sees Gopher, who again is almost like a surrogate son to him, happy with his own family. And he says, now that's what I call a happy ending. And I do believe that this was a wonderful way to end season 2.
I think so.
And speaking of happy endings, you guys, as I said earlier in this show, and as I said in the last episode, I was announcing the end of the podcast. And as I was in communication with one of our listeners, one of our wonderful listeners, it gave me an idea. In this correspondence, she was saying that she was kind of sad that she wouldn't get our take on one of the future episodes. I think it was either season 5 or season 4. And throughout this, you know, we've been in communication with lots of listeners.
Yeah, a lot of people chimed in after that announcement, not wanting our podcast to end.
And that's very, very nice. But the thing I was going to say is that I've had people always mention episodes in the future. And I was always trying to be as diplomatic as possible, saying, hey, we're on season 1, we're on season 2, we're going show by show by show. I'm not looking that far into the future. But it made me think that we have how many seasons still in The Love Boat?
8?
There's 8 more, right? It ran for 10 seasons? Oh, my God. So,
and that's like what, 25 to 30 episodes a season. We'll never get. I'll be 100 before.
So that was the other thing, is that it's pretty daunting to think that we would be going for that long doing every single I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that I'd make it. I don't know that I'd survive. So something that I thought would be really cool is if you guys want to do this, to communicate with us via the Instagram page. And let us know your favorite episodes. Let us know episodes, they don't even have to be favorites. Ones that you just, how I had the Sonny Bono episode. I want to see that one.
Yeah, just ones you really remember from that time period that really stuck to you, whether it was the early 80s or...
anything, any season.
When Ted McKinley came around.
Oh, my Lord.
I'd hope none of those really stuck with
All right, hang on. Let's make this very clear. So what we're asking of you guys is, if you have any episode that sticks out in your mind or ones that you absolutely know that you really like or find problematic, message us, contact us, and say, I would love if you guys would do season 7, episode 13, season 5, episode 23. And we will do that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really fun, cool way to keep the show alive and then not make it as work-centric as it is for me currently. And then we can cherry pick those things. And I will sweeten the deal even further. We would invite you to be on the episode. And if you've heard some of the past episodes, we've had people on who have just recorded voice memos on their phones and emailed them to us. So you would be part of the show. It's like, thanks to so-and-so for choosing this episode and for being part of it. And I think that that could be a really cool way to head into a new season in kind of a new way. And it's entirely up to you guys. Let us know what you think. I am going to take a little break for a little bit. Don't bail on us. Don't delete the show. And I don't have a specific time. Do you, Michelle, of like how often we do it? I don't know that we will have that.
No, I think we have a suggestion already.
Yes.
And we will start with that episode when time permits and take it from there and see how many suggestions we get from people. I mean, in the meantime, if you haven't listened to all of our episodes, go back and listen to them.
Yeah,
Catch
good
up
idea.
In the meantime.
Great idea. And one other thing, I'm sorry to interrupt, but one of the other things that was really bumming me out too, you guys, because I do love making the show and I love hearing from you guys, as does Michelle. I have a few people that are still supposed to be on. As anybody heard from the past, Mariah Grandy's supposed to be on the show, and we could still make good on that then. I actually was in contact with little Keith Coogan. And Keith Coogan wants to be on the show. So we do have some people lined up that were part of Love Boat episodes that we were in communication with. And it was one of the other reasons that it was really bumming me out that we weren't able to make good on that. So if we continue this, if you guys want to do it, if you want to continue on this journey with us in this new way, then there's other really cool stuff that we can share with you. So let us know. Make sure you are following us on Instagram. I will have it in the show description as always, but if you are on Instagram, it is at Lovin The Loveboat. There are underscores, but I think if you just type that in, you'll be able to find it. You'll see our logo. Mm-hmm. And if you aren't on Instagram, do it. It's worth it because it's a fun way to communicate. And during this little interim, I think we'll post more. Maybe we'll try to post more things, different things.
So send us your clips, your pictures, your cruise ship pictures, anything.
Yeah. Because that was another part of it, to try to make the Instagram just extra fun. And I think like we've kind of accomplished that. Mm-hmm. And we will definitely lean on the Instagram more while we're taking this little moratorium. So if you guys think that it's a good idea, please let us know and send your episodes, you guys. But until then, I am Istvan.
I'm Michelle.
Captain Stubing, please come to the bridge.
And we are
Lovin' the Loveboat.